welcome to the Learning Guild. Today we have a DevLearn 365 webinar for you, from course delivery to learning ecosystems, an AI-driven approach. And with us today we have Laura Martin. She is with OpenLMS. She is the Senior Director of Product Management at OpenLMS, with over 10 years of experience in the ed tech sector, specializing in driving product strategies and leading cross-functional teams. She combines her expertise in UX design, entrepreneurship, and product management to deliver innovative solutions. As an EMBA candidate, Laura is passionate about transforming learning through technology and fostering a collaborative team culture. And with that, I am going to turn things over to Laura. And while we're waiting for Laura to get her slides shown, I'm going to show you a couple of different polls. So you should be seeing a poll on your screen about your role. So if you take a moment and answer that. Now, as you can see the answers, I won't read them to you, but we want to see who is in the room right now. And I'm going to give it a few seconds here to populate and give everyone a chance to read through all of those. Because at some point, we want to know how to address the attendees in the room.
Thank you.
Yeah, I still see responses coming in.
That's great. We really want to understand how you're using AI, if you're using AI, if you have any policies established in your companies, so that we can, better discuss some of the points that we will be talking through. So please respond to the polls. That will give us a better understanding of where you are.
All right, so I think the responses are slowing down for the role. Oh, not quite. Give it another few seconds. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end and share out the results. So you can speak to the results there, Laura.
Okay, so the results, we are seeing 40% of you really use AI regularly on a daily basis and heavily. That's really nice. 25 just use it for automating certain tasks, especially administrative work. That's nice. 33 don't use it very much, just exploring at the time being. And just 1% saying that they don't currently use AI. Okay, that's really interesting.
That is fascinating. And then, of course, we do have another poll. Did you want me to show that right now too?
Yeah,
About
please.
the status? Okay, great. So there you go. So we also are curious as to the status in your organization.
Yeah, as an individual, right? You can use AI on a regular basis for tasks, for a general understanding, maybe content creation. But we also want to understand is if, as a company, you also have a defined policy, if there's any guidelines, any restrictions, or anything that you have as a whole in your company for AI usage.
Yep, and we have responses coming in. Interesting. All right. There's one winner, just barely, but I'm going to give it a few more seconds to be answered, and then I'll have you speak to the results. All right. Here we are. Those are our results.
Okay, so we see that 28% have a clear, formally established policy. Then there's 40% are winner that are in the process of developing and formalizing a policy. We also have 16 on the same place that have informed guidelines, but not necessarily a policy. And of course, also 60% that they don't necessarily have a specific guidelines or policies. This kind of aligns of what we've kind of been seeing in the market. So really nice to see that it actually is happening out there.
All right, I've stopped sharing the poll, and I'll be off camera, and just holler if you need me, Laura.
Perfect, Karen. Thank you very much. Then I think we can kickstart the session. If you have, as Karen mentioned, any question, please put them in the QA and we will make sure to go through them at the end of the hour and also we have some of our OpenLMS team members also here, so they might respond to those questions throughout the session. So please make sure to share any concerns, any questions that you may have. So today, what's the agenda for today? So today we are going to talk about the AI landscape and market, what we're seeing right now. We will be talking about the power of personalizing the learning journeys. Also, some key features of AI in OpenLMS and the extended ecosystem, automation for administrative efficiencies, and then just finish up with some ethical and responsible use of AI and what we think the future of AI is. I think definitely at this point, AI is in the mouth of everyone. Everyone is talking about AI. There are experts everywhere. But we would just want to share what our thoughts are, where we consider AI is doing specifically in the terms of professional development, learning ecosystem, and of course, learning management systems. So that's going to be our focus for today and what we're seeing, especially in the corporate market. So if you have any questions, please don't doubt to ask with. So what are we seeing actually in the training landscape? So what's happening in the market? So we see 3 very specific trends in the market currently happening. So we are seeing that after the pandemic, where it was a very specific focus for online learning, the market is now kind of flowing back into being hybrid, and students are requesting more this hybrid learning and just wanting to be very flexible. They are requesting for micro-credentials and definitely a lot of personalized learning experience. Institutions are also seeing that there is a specific pressure to manage costs, to move towards doing more with less, and also be more scalable. The pandemic really opened the space and the opportunities to scale, but now it's kind of looking back into seeing how we can manage that in a hybrid space. And finally, students and learners and different employees are also looking for professional development that is short, very straightforward, and is ready for the job. So they are not looking for long-term commitment, but very specific short-term credentials and content so that they can be ready for the next role or the current role. So in specific for students or learners, we are really seeing that they do not want the kind of traditional course with slides and content and that's it. They really want a learning ecosystem, something that will connect seamlessly with other tools, with other contents, and just work really good with all of the applications that they are used to. We are also seeing a growth, as I mentioned, in the hybrid and online learning. People really want to consume content whenever they want, whenever they can, in whatever device they have. And of course, just being user-centric. People don't want generic content anymore. They want something that is built for them, for their knowledge, for their skill sets, and that aligns to their professional development, their competencies, and just the skills gaps that they may have. And for content creators, we are also seeing a lot of shift towards AI. We are now looking at AI as an assistant for content creation. So definitely generative AI is moving to commoditizing how you are creating content. We are also seeing AI used for defining skills gaps and just analyzing what the student might need or the learner might need to get that skill, get that competency done and checked. And finally, we are also seeing a lot of automation. Sometimes there's a kind of a confusion or maybe not a differentiation between automation and AI, because it's kind of similar and based on some of the same logic. But both of them, both AI and automation, are really moving forward the way we are learning, the way we are creating content, and the way people are developing. So now we really see a focus on more of a predictive analytics and also just more data-driven decisions. So that's kind of where the landscape is and what people are currently kind of requesting. So where does that kind of takes us? So in the last couple of years, since this whole AI revolution, we have seen a lot of things happening and coming up, right? So we are seeing a lot of AI assistants. We are seeing a lot of predictive analytics for sure, and a lot of bots, chatbots and blogs and so much more that want or are there to help learners, content creators, and more just to develop, right? In a professional way. And for even though it's very new and kind of changing very fast, there are a lot of studies, like the latest from McKinsey or Stanford Institute, that say that using AI on a regular basis is actually making employees happier. They are working faster, they are making better decisions, and they are just enjoying their work more. So we are really seeing positive impact in general of the use of AI. And that, of course, translates into content creation, into professional development, and more. So it is definitely an opportunity to become AI driven, and how we kind of approach our work, our day-to-day task, and also, of course, content development if you are an instructor or a manager that is looking to develop your teams. So what we are seeing or needs also to happen as a basis for this whole impact to develop, or this to have positive impact in a company, for example. So first, as we mentioned, having AI policies. Thankfully, what we saw in our initial polls, it said that 40%, right, already had established policies, and another huge chunk were already establishing policies. This is really, really good at a company level, an institution level, just because it will clarify how AI can be used and what are the limitations, what is expected, what is out of the scope of AI usage, and this will, let's say, give that reassurance to employees and learners to be able to use this AI without feeling any type of, feeling guilty. I think one of the initial kind of feelings about AI is, hey, am I cheating? Am I being, creating content that I wouldn't know how to otherwise? Or, people feel a bit guilty about using AI. So having clear policies within the company or institution that says how AI can be used either with managers, students, and in what aspects or in what areas can it be used, really takes out that sensation of maybe I shouldn't be using this, or how much can I use it on a regular basis. Then, of course, you need to have a focus on AI literacy. So many people at this point don't necessarily use AI. We know in the tech world, this is kind of now a day-to-day type of thing, but not necessarily everyone is on top of that. And if at a company level, you want to be on the same page and use AI for the same type of things with the same type of scopes, there really needs to be some enablement of how to use AI and how, use best practices. So definitely preparing, especially instructors in the LMS world, to use AI, understand how it can be used, but still, let's say, give them the reassurance that the control, the content, and everything that is created is from their own creation, right? Comes from them. And finally, just the new approaches that we are seeing. Of course, just being human-centered and the expectations that this is now part of the day-to-day life. It will help you in being more productive, in developing your new skills, but it's just not anymore just content delivery within the LMS. This is no longer what our learners and students are looking for. So what are we actually, as I mentioned, seeing? There's a lot of personalizing learning journeys and how powerful it can be. As I mentioned prior, students are really looking for something that is built out for them, for their skills, for their career development, for their professional advancement. So they are looking for something that is, as customizable as possible. And that's where assistance and automation really comes in to help instructors and content creators make that happen. Because as we know, every institution also have restrictions, and just being able to scale is not an easy feat. So using or relying on those for that specific, for being able to create something that is personalized, customized for the specific learner, will really make a difference without necessarily impacting your capacity as a content creator or your capacity as an instructor. So what we're seeing specifically is three main aspects for those customization to feel very, built uniquely for the learner. First is adaptive learning paths. This means that when you are creating content, programs, courses within the LMS or your institution programs, you will create automations and use AI to help create those programs and those paths specifically for that student. So if they are developing a specific skill, they can go through one path, but that path will automatically kind of change and adapt based on their progress, on how they're doing, their grades, and so much more, so that it is as flexible as possible. The second and most important one is also real-time feedback. As you know, our users now really want a response right away. They want to know how they did, how well they did, if there were anything that they did wrong, and they want that feedback now. So one thing that can be done for sure is how teachers and instructors can really, or managers can really give that automatic feedback to the learner right away when they get a milestone, when they completed a specific course, or when they done a task. Then that feedback will be created and delivered directly to them. Those are more on automation rather than AI, but it can definitely build on top of the initial point so that it can create this customizable experience for learners. And finally, micro-credentials and lifelong learning. At this point, professionals are really looking, as I mentioned, to kind of build on top of what they know with really short, focused courses and credentials that will kind of add to their skills and sets of competencies without impacting their current role, but also kind of building and building and building your own kind of portfolio of knowledge. So having modular, flexible, and just competency-based education for those professionals that will build on top will really create that customizable path for the learners that they are looking for and that they are actually asking for. So definitely a lot of, opportunity in this personalizing of learning journeys. And here is kind of also where the ecosystem comes in, right? As I mentioned, students are no longer looking for a short course and that's it. They're looking for a whole experience, something that will help them not only create the knowledge, consume the knowledge, but also kind of build that portfolio. But we, on the other hand, also have the instructors that are creating that content, that want their professionals, their direct reports to build that knowledge and that program on those skills. And for them, or their instructional design, we also have a ton of tools that will help both, let's say, target users kind of be more productive and use the LMS in a more seamless, let's say, kind of environment. Specifically for AI, because an LMS is quite robust, right? At this point, an LMS can do almost everything. But on AI, we're seeing a lot of new implementation features and integrations that are making the LMS way more powerful. And I wanted to share here some of the elements that we have in OpenLMS that make that specifically, let's say, environment more powerful. So first, we have OpenLMS unique features. These are more intended for content creators, for instructional designers, for managers that are creating courses and training programs. We have the Tiny AI assistant. This is for all of the HTML editors within the platform. It is based on OpenAI and other LLMs like DeepDive and Gemini. And what it will do is, through AI, it will help you create content, easy way of just, modifying either files or images or anything that you like, just to create the content that you need to be customized and ready to be, let's say, consumed and created in the platform. To give you an example, if you have a course for, let's say, building leadership skills, and it's based, or you are basing it on a PDF, a research, or something that you want to pull information from, you can upload those emails directly on, or those files, directly on the platform, on this assistant, and it will help you either summarize it, bring in the most important points. It will help you change the tone of the content, or it will also translate it to different languages if you need different types of content or labels within the course. We also have the text to question. This is a very specific functionality for our platform, which is you can also, from files or content, you can upload that, and from those create a set of questions with the right answers, right? And possibilities, which you will, of course, check, because one of the things we for sure know is that AI assistants at this point are co-pilots, are assistants. They are not leading the content creation. They're just helping out with those specific, let's say, productive tasks. But you are the one, or the content creator is the one that is really looking into reviewing that and proofreading, and approving whatever comes out of that AI assistant. So it will help you be, as I mentioned, just more productive, creating those content easily for you to double check, to give your green light, and then post and create the content. So things that could take, hours, days even to create, now will take minutes, and you'll just need your review. Of course, we are also partnering with great partners that have unique integrations with our product, with our LMS, like Turnitin, just for safeguarding originality. It has a lot of also AI detecting algorithms that will help distinguish, for example, if you're very specific, what is created by AI and what is created by the learner. We also have copy leaks that is meant for plagiarism, and also relies on AI to understand and review how much it is being originally created. We also have Teachermatic. This is specific for instructional designers and content creators. This is a whole platform that will integrate with our LMS, which will help you plan lessons, will create courses, assessments, and everything based on AI in different languages if you need it, and just help you create those activities in an easy way that can be, let's say, moved back into the LMS. And finally, as you may know, OpenLMS is also based on open source. So we have a ton of functionalities that are coming from the community on which we rely and also share back to. And two of them specifically are AI functionalities that we've been adding to our product and maintaining them for our final users. So we have, for example, the OpenAI chatbot. This is very, let's say, being very popular and used for support. So it can be added as a block. It can be limited in what it kind of takes in terms of where their source of responses come from. And it can be a great assistant for support or customizable responses to students or learners within the LMS. And of course, we also have the AI to text to images, which is a feature that will allow you to create customizable images. So if you have a course or a program that you're creating for your direct reports or for your learners, you want to create something that is unique to your brand, for example, but also very aligned to the content of the course. You can create images via AI and it will create those customized imagery that you can use throughout the course or program. So definitely, as I mentioned, it's beyond just the course creation, right? This becomes a whole ecosystem of things that happen around AI, around professional development that need to be a whole, like an ecosystem, just for the student to feel that it is something that is built for them, but also that is, seamless, that it integrates, that it is doing what it's supposed to do. So how comes then automation as also an additional helping hand, right? So the previous information that we share were kind of all AI tools already kind of available and deployed that are for content creation and for course creation. But we also have a big focus, or let's say with AI, automation kind of comes hand in hand because AI can do some aspects of the elements that we are looking for, but then automation really comes in for those scalable tasks and to make things quicker and easier, right? So there's also a ton of focus on how automation can really help in those administrative tasks. So you can create, for example, workflows that are simpler, just streamlining processes, direct feedback, grading, and just, for example, tasks such as user creations, enrollment, course creation, course deletion, and so much more. This is more for our admins out there that are in the LMS, that are looking for something that helps them being more productive and just spend less time in those repetitive tasks and more time on the most important aspect of the administration of the LMS. There's also enhanced support, so these chatbots and of course other automation tools can help in just simplifying how our admins are being reached and contacted for questions. So anything regarding AI and automation can really help in this regard. And finally, just how automation and AI can really also help in a day-to-day task related to the LMS or your general work. So how, for example, you can start using other types of tools like we are using, for example, GitHub's Copilot for our developers, or just general assistance for our customer success and sales teams. So it becomes a whole world where AI and automation are really kind of impacting different aspects of our lives, our professionals, and also, of course, our teams. But of course, one of the biggest concerns and also kind of where we all have a say in AI is the ethical responsibility of the use of AI, right? So many I've heard over the years already how much people are concerned about how the content is being used, how the AI LLMs are being trained, and how if there's any ethical bias or anything like that, which I think it's a very powerful concern. And as I mentioned, that's kind of where we come in as individuals. If we all want and kind of gather, we can make a difference in how AI is being used by starting with our own usage, and of course, in our company and colleagues, how it's being used. So first, how we can address some of the initial concerns is first misinformation. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. So if you're not very new or are very new with I would definitely recommend you start reading a lot about AI, watching videos, what's new, what's coming, what's out there, what's misinformation, what's true and what's not necessarily true. Also looking into, as I mentioned, policies in your company around plagiarism and AI generated content, like where's that limit that you are allowing your learners or your colleagues to use AI with, and what you consider safe or unsafe, what content can be used, what LLM should be used, and so much more. And within, of course, if you are in the LMS community, especially in the open source community, I would definitely recommend just reaching out to the community, the forums, and conversations that are happening around AI, and just sharing your thoughts, sharing your concerns, and looking into best practices that are already out there. We are all going through this whole change together. So we can definitely rely on the community to show support and finding best ways to deal with those concerns or with those issues we may have. In OpenLMS, we have definitely a commitment for ethics, and our approach has been very straightforward. So first, we want to be very transparent and user-centric in our AI solutions. So we will be very clear on what the features and assistants and blocks and functionalities can do, what's their scope, what are the limitations, and how it can be used and by whom. We also use our assistant mainly or especially focused for content creators, trainers, and of course managers, so that our focus at this point are those groups, instructional designers, rather than the end user, because our focus at this point is to help instructors, help those content creators just create that content in an easier way, very transparent way, and very hopefully responsible way. So that's been kind of our approach and our focus. And of course, just ensuring responsible implementation around learning environments. So our teams in OpenLMS will review all of the functionalities, as I mentioned, the integrations, either with different LLMs. As I mentioned before, our LLMs that are supported in OpenLMS are DeepSeek, Anthropic, Gemini, and OpenAI. And we will review all those integrations thoroughly so that they work as expected and are exactly what we say they do. But also we'll reach out to partners and those other, let's say, vendors that we work with to better understand what they do in terms of AI, how they manage either data or content, so that we can be as straightforward as possible with our students or with our customers, so they can be as straightforward with their learners as possible. So this is kind of our approach. It may vary, as you know, just AI is advancing and changing every day. So nothing at this point is really written in stone. It's more of a, evolving every day. So at this point in time, this is how we are approaching things. It might need to be, modified in the next couple of uh, weeks, months, just because of how fast it is advancing. But in general, we see for sure an opportunity in how AI can really support, the product, our customers, our day-to-day lives, and become a whole ecosystem. And it's really changing the way that learning and professional development is happening. So what is our future vision of AI in education? So here we have, I think, different, possibilities in what we think will happen. And I don't think there's anyone that can really say what's going to happen. Well, besides those working directly in, OpenAI or Gemini and Google and so on and so forth. Those are the ones that are leading the way. But as consumers, right, and as professionals using AI, definitely have a say in where it's going and what we want from AI. So in OpenLMS, I think our vision is as follows. First, we think AI is a collaborator. That means we don't believe that AI is ever going to replace our instructors, learners, the learning path, the content, nothing. I think that it will always be an assistant, a collaborative, a co-pilot, helping in the way, a great tool, but definitely not, a teacher, an instructor. We believe that knowledge will always live in the minds of the instructors, the teachers, the managers. They know what they want, the outcomes that they want, the content that they want to share, the skills that they want to develop, and the AI will only help them kind of create that in a more productive and probably more or easier way, right? So that's kind of our first approach, and that's how we will always kind of develop for just being an assistant, a right hand, a tool to help you create content. Then we also see feedback-driven development. As we mentioned prior, students are really looking for direct feedback for them, but are also very open to share feedback. So we definitely know that how educators and instructors incorporate feedback really makes the difference. So if you, as I mentioned, there are a ton of tools, but if you are able to create either automations, customizations for that feedback to reach your learners into, the learning path and create something that is very customizable, very unique for them, this is very well received. But it will also help instructors or you as a content creator to get also feedback back, right? And understand what's changing, what needs to be adjusted, and what learners are looking for. The era of PDFs and PPTs just being uploaded into the LMS is way gone, and we are now in an area where the expectations are very, very high. And we're fortunately, the technology is advancing as fast that a whole ecosystem, a whole experience can be done in easier ways than before. Of course, strategic innovation. So we definitely see AI, generative AI, as a tool for content creation, for optimizations, and just for predictive analytics. Right now, we see how much AI can really, consume content, either data, content in general, to help you make more data-aware decisions. It's amazing what, at this point, AI can actually process and help you with. So rely on AI for those types of things. Of course, just, owning the content, but definitely looking into how you can optimize your work, your process, etc., just to kind of own it, but definitely make decisions based on information. And information is there for sure. So in general, it's kind of our final 3 statements that we think is gonna impact the future. First, we're saying that AI and automation, both hand in hand, will have, but are already having a transformative role in personalized learning. It's no longer as simple as it was 10 or 15 years ago. This point, it is transforming the way programs, certification courses are being made, and it is an opportunity for instructors, for content creators to really rely on what's out there and try it out, and see how powerful it can be and how productive you can become. And as mentioned in the studies and researches, how it can really make things better and make you happier at work. Please do consider ethical considerations, just preparation of yourself, your teams, your colleagues, so that it is used in a responsible way. And it has also a strategic implementation. It's not just using AI for using AI, but it's more for a strategic purpose of your company, of your team, and it has specific goals set up that you can track on a regular basis. And in general, I think it is an immense opportunity to become AI-enabled organizations. What I mean by an AI-enabled is kind of AI in every aspect of how you approach your work, right? So I think we have different levels of using AI and how we can use AI, but it becomes kind of integrated into our day-to-day life. So if you're a professional that is looking to use AI or are using AI on a day-to-day basis, I would definitely recommend if you're not doing it already, start playing around with tools like Gemini, maybe Lovable, maybe even Notebook LM to understand what AI can do for you, how you can become more productive, how you can delegate tasks, for example, and just be more focused on the very strategic work and kind of leave those kind of repetitive tasks to AI. If you are an instructor and content creator that has an LMS, hopefully an open LMS product, then start trying some of the tools that we have out there for content creation. You will see how easy it is to create content, to modify content, to just simplify the way you are using AI. You are using AI for content creation, and see how simple it is, how much you can save time. If you're an administrator, even more. And here I think is where automation tools will really, really help you out. And is how can you also delegate some of the repetitive tasks to those helpers, those plugins and integrations, and how you can just move away from that. And of course, with partners such as CopyLeaks and others, you can really focus on delivering with the instructors, delivering content, and manage, the expectation, the general interaction with learners in an easier way. And finally, if you have a strategic role in your company and are looking for AI, I would definitely take a look at your company policies if you have them, or if you don't, start building on top and see where you see yourself as a company in the next 3 to 4 years? Do you want to be AI enabled? Where do you think AI can really support your company and your strategic goals? How do you want your company to approach AI? Do you want it in your professional development plans? Do you want it also in your day-to-day tasks? Do you want it in a more deep level, for example, if you're in your marketing team or in your development team, or even, as a knowledge base type of assistant? There are so many usage of AI on a day-to-day basis that it can, touch every aspect of life at this point. So definitely this kind of an invitation to think bigger, right? To think at a company level and see what you can do and how you can impact not only your work, but the professional development of your teams and your strategies to be more, AI driven. Okay, thank you, Karen. I think we can move into questions if there are any questions.
All right, so let me just go and grab some of those questions. One moment.
Of course.
So,
I'll stop sharing for the time being.
all righty.
Focus on those.
Okay, so question came in, is it recommendable to use AI in student submissions? If not, how can you discourage student from using AI whereas its use is growing at a higher rate?
So if it's recommendable or not, I think that's up to the company or institution, what you want your students to use. I do see, as you mentioned, that it is becoming a tool for everyone. So everyone is using AI. So my recommendation is, instead of kind of fighting it, right? Seeing it, it would be better to see how you can use it for your benefit and the benefit of your students. So definitely, if it is only created through AI and there's no, intellectual process there. There's tools like CopyLeaks, like Turnitin, that will help you understand how much of it was created by AI. And then you can kind of, make that difference. But you can definitely move towards some type of assignments or content that will be created on AI and will target other types of kind of grading assumptions, right? Not only originality or if it was or not created by AI, but what was the content of it? Maybe something more creative that was needed the input from the final learner and not, a copy paste from WikiLeaks, wiki pages or something like that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I did read an article recently of a I believe it was a professor. He said, no, have them prompt the AI, create the great prompt to create this great essay, and then have them have the AI create the essay, and then the student then takes that essay and critiques it and shows where it's right, where it's wrong, and then figures out how to write a better prompt because they're using critical thinking in trying to create a great essay. They're just not physically doing that. Not that that's a great example of using AI necessarily, and you may have your own opinions, but I thought I'd share that just because this came up in today's webinar. There is another question. Is
Uh-huh.
there a way to set up or a plugin, I guess, we can add to our LMS system to notify the instructors if students have used AI to write their assignments?
Yes. So Turnitin or CopyLeaks are specific integrations that will double check assignments and will see if and how much the content was created through AI. So it will give you, a review, and it will say, hey, this is definitely created by AI, 80% of this assignment or 30% of this assignment. This looks like, and it will give you a report on how much it was created by AI.
All right, great. Another question. How do you go about a bank of approved AI tools? There's just, so many out there. If we are looking to inject it in the business more, some people feel overwhelmed with all the different tools. Our IT team wants to make sure everything is in line with data safety guidelines and guidance and our AI policy, but I don't want to rule anything out, which is revolutionary. So, how do you create that list of AI tools so it's not like you're looking at, well, choose one of these 10,000?
Right. Well, yes, is a complex topic at this point just because of the amount of functionalities that are out there. But I would start first by the LLM, so the AI engine. There's several, right? There's OpenAI, there's Gemini, there's the Azure one, there's DeepSeek, and each one of them have unique policies also on how they manage data consumption and how they teach their engine. So I would go there first and understand which engine really kind of aligns to your company's policies. Is that data, management kind of aligns with the security aspect that you have in your institution? Yes. Then with that, then I would start choosing maybe functionality that support that specific AI engine. Or you can use that AI engine in your company. For example, if you're a Google-based company, then you will use probably Gemini. But if you are a Microsoft-based company, then you will use the Microsoft one. So it depends. I would definitely start there and then starting to see what are you expecting the usage to be, right? OpenAI, for example, the OpenAI chatbot that we have, it's very broad because you can ask it anything. It can do whatever you want. It's just like chatting with OpenAI. If that's something that you like, then that can be a good, for example. But if you're looking for something that is more scoped, then I would look into the things that you really want either your team to do or the functionality to do. List those out and start kind of, comparing. And that will give you more. But in my experience, experimenting with things makes the most difference. Just go in, maybe have a monthly subscription with you and your team, take a look, see if it makes sense, if, of course, with IT's approval initially, but just seeing if it makes sense to what your objectives are. I think that would be the best approach. There will be and will continue to be thousands of options. So just kind of starting to play with them makes the difference.
All right, great. So play. That's all we need to do is play, find things and play. But that's about it. I don't see any other questions here. Is there anything else you would like to cover in the last couple of minutes? We're
Just
good.
just one addition, I think, to that last aspect. I think if you're not sure about AI, I would definitely rely on the expertise of the ones in your, company that do. Your IT team might be the best place to start. In OpenLMS, we have a whole process about reviewing AI tools and flagging them or approving them. So it's a whole process that is created specifically for that, so that we know that what we will put out there for our customers, for our internal users and teams, is what we want that to do, right? So probably you will need, besides the policies, you will also need to start to create some process definition and approval, standardization, so that there is clarity on what can be used, what not, what's recommended, and just kind of starting to kind of build on top of that and moving on top of that AI wave.
All right. So a question did come in. Is AI automatically part of every LMS system in a base level, or do we need to add it as a plugins for what we want to use it for?
It depends on the integration. We have several solutions. Some come in as a built-in, let's say, functionality from the LMS. Others just need to be requested to be enabled in the platform. In general, all of them support different, not all of them, but most of them support different LLMs or AI engines. So it's up to you to decide which AI engine you want to use. You can even use several, in the same tool. But you can then, it will be your prerogative to define the engine and also how much you want to use it, because you have your own AI account with that LLM, and then you will, purchase the credits and define how you want to use it in your institution, in your LMS, and then just kind of integrate it directly to the functionality.
All right. Do you have any recommendations for AI-enabled LMS systems?
Well, definitely open.
There you go. I knew that was going to be your answer. This is being sponsored by OpenLMS. And if you just want to continue the conversation, go ahead and reach out to Laura on LinkedIn. Ask her your question. It may not occur to you tomorrow, but make sure you ask her the question. They're here as a resource. I mean, yes, they have OpenLMS, but as you can tell, Laura is very knowledgeable in this situation. Any other questions? Yeah, that's right. We answered that one. Any other questions? I'm not seeing any. So thank you so much, Laura. Really appreciate the care you have put into this presentation for us. We really enjoyed it. I know I really enjoyed it. And I want to thank all of the participants today for asking those great questions, for their attention. It's a very interesting concept and very interesting things that we need to look at. And so everyone, I would love for you to have a good rest of your day. Thank you, Laura. And thank you, OpenLMS.
Thank you very much, Karen. This was a lovely session. Thank you for having us.
Goodbye.